Welcome to the Gearbox Podcast with Jimmy Purdy. We're bringing together industry leaders and those in the daily grind. Whether you're a tech looking to level up or a shop owner navigating the business, or just here for some real talk about the automotive world, we're finding the common ground in entrepreneurship and picking up some valuable tips along the way. So buckle up, let's shift into gear. Before we get started, I want to let you know the Gearbox Podcast is powered by the Repair Shops of Tomorrow. It's our exclusive coaching partner. If you're looking to boost profitability, grow your arrow, and streamline operations, our SOT has the tools and expertise to get you there. Shift your shop into the future with the Repair Shops of Tomorrow.
And I apologize. So I moved. I am in my garage now. So I used to have this really nice studio, and it's not built yet. So
Oh, it's fine. The whiteboard's perfect.
yeah,
That's all you need.
yeah.
It's like where I'm at. I'm just in a little box, so it's like it is what it is. Well, Brandon, I appreciate you coming and telling me about what you got going on. This is brand new. We were just talking just for a minute. Hub Shop Solutions.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. You know, I think this is something that's kind of polarizing in the industry, and I read about this, and I've talked to a lot of other shop owners about this, and taking some of these services out of the shop is definitely not for everybody. Or maybe you can convince them otherwise, but you know, to try to get a personalized touch in the shop, you want to make sure that, you know, you have a face there, right? Like someone walks into the shop, they can size it up to the situation, they can handle it accordingly. Moving some of this stuff to like a third party, and forgive me if I'm kind of off base, but it kind of sounds like that's basically what we're doing is moving some of these systems out of the shop. That's what you're doing here.
Yeah, a little bit. So I'll give you a quick rundown of
Oh,
how
take
it
your
works.
time. Yeah.
So basically, how this Hub Shop Solutions works is we're taking all of the tedious stuff out of essentially a shop owner or a service advisor, service manager's day, because we want them to focus on what really matters. And that's that customer interactions, that customer relationships, educating them on what's going on with their vehicle. So basically what we do, what our company does, Hub Shop Solutions, is we provide you with that remote estimating. So once your guys at the back complete a DVI, it's going to come over to us. And our team is going to take the look at it, review it, make sure it's complete. We're going to type up that estimate, send it right to the customer, and then you guys take it from there. We allow you guys to the opportunity then to essentially take that estimate that we've built and now have that personal interaction, that personal touch. So the only thing we take out of that is we try to speed up that process, and we take out that kind of minutia, that stuff that really doesn't make anyone money when you talk, the shop owners. So it's the tedious things, the things that, a lot of times people pull their hair out over. So
I can
that's kind
understand
of
that.
in a nutshell what we do.
So yeah, definitely raises some questions for me. So
Sure.
here we go. So the 300% rule.
Yeah,
You're familiar with that?
I am.
So that's another thing that's kind of polarizing in the industry, where some people don't think they should, but we won't go here nor there. The main thing, we're looking for the shops that are doing the 300% rule. I feel like that's your target
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah. 100%.
And that way we can take the time and estimate all those things, and we're not backlogging the office. So I get that side of it. Now, the one thing when it comes to inspections, and if you have a DVI in your shop, if you're listening, you know what that is. You know, every technician's got a different way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a little bit of time to build that relationship between the tech and the advisor to understand what their language is that they're saying, right? Because not everyone's going to use ChatGPT to reword. They're just going to put all the garble in there, and you got to it seems to take 3 months before there's that relationship built where they know what the tech's going on. Now, when you're estimating these, are they technicians or are they seasoned advisors? Or tell me a little bit more about the crew or the team that you've put together.
Yeah. So right now we break this down into what we call pods. So each pod has 3 service advisors, and these are seasoned professionals. These aren't folks that have never been in the industry. There's some experience behind it. Basically, we give them an opportunity to work from home, and they don't have to deal the day to day for the shop, so they love it. But yeah, these are seasoned professionals that have been doing this for a minute. And you're 100% right. There is a trust that needs to be built up And sometimes that's a hard thing to do. I'm a former shop owner myself, and that's a difficult task, right?
Mhm.
And not only do we have that challenge of getting them, the technicians, using a DVI, but now we have to get them that trust built up with the service advisor to sell that. And kind of where we fit is right in the middle of that. So what we've seen in the shops that we've been testing this with is the DVIs get a little bit more thorough because they're learning and getting trained essentially on a process, on a DVI process. So we're not going to completely overhaul it, um, uh, anything like that, but we're definitely going to give the technicians some tools that help them be successful and help them increase, that written per ticket, help them know what to look for. So we're not going to overhaul anything, but we're going to be a value added service. And obviously, by doing this and paying attention to the details, the shops that we tested all this out with, written per ticket went up significantly, and I think that's to be expected, right? Because now we have a process that we put in place, and our, just like you were saying on the 300% rule, so 100% is getting inspected, 100% now is getting written and estimated, and that's the part that we're taking, and then we pass it back off to the shop, and now it's their job to communicate all that to the guest. So
Yeah, so accountability is the other thing that's kind of in the back of my head a little bit, right? And I'm sure you know from your experience who didn't order the part or why was it not on the ticket. So I got an example. A valve cover gasket job. Tube seals are leaking. We do coils, we do plugs, we need valve cover gaskets. The gaskets don't get ordered; they don't get put on the
yep,
order, right?
never happens.
So in those kinds of situations, that accountability, have you? So when it goes smooth and everything goes great, like when you're doing beta testing, obviously that's nice. Do you have any sort of mistakes or things that have popped up in your testing that you can kind of attest to that you've been able
Yeah,
to work the kinks
yeah.
out of?
And just like any service advisor, an estimator, there are mistakes. I will say our guys, our team is rated on accuracy and thoroughness, and they're all well within the high 90 percentage of being, accurate and having everything on there. Because once again, nobody makes money when you got a dead bay and you're just waiting for that vehicle to roll
Yeah,
out the
and
shop
it's
or waiting
always
for.
it's always the one you forget about.
Oh,
That's like
100%.
a day away. Like the like the part that gets forgot on that one
Yeah.
work order that one time is like the one that's a one day away.
Oh, 100%. And that never fails, right? It's but one thing that we do is this is part of our onboarding process. And because once you sign up for the service, it's we just don't throw you out there, right? There's an onboarding process. We're gonna, partner side by side with you and make sure you are successful with this. And it's we use Slack. This is our system is integrated with Slack,
Okay.
so the communication is very very streamless, and it works out really well. So
So that's the communication between the advisors in the shop and then your
100%.
team. Okay. So they're always available to talk back and forth.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about it is, on our end, you're going to see, or you won't see anything except, so there'll be four people at the disposal of that one ticket, right? Potentially. And it's kind of a first come first serve. They grab it right away, and that's part of what we do. We increase the efficiency, right? So on average, it's over 45 minutes for a shop to after they complete a DVI to get it written up, estimated, all the prices and the parts priced out, and then that sent to the guest. It's about 45 minutes. What we
Hmm.
do, it's about 15. So, I'll ask you, Jimmy, you're a shop owner. What are you going to do with 30 extra minutes per ticket?
Right.
Can you think of a couple things? I mean, I know
Yeah.
I could.
Well, write more tickets, right? That's the
Yeah,
whole idea.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, if it's under an hour, then we're ecstatic. I mean,
Yeah.
that's our procedure, right? To have like everything in by the time the DVI is done and the client's contacted, it's been an hour. That's what we strive for. So, no, absolutely, it does take time. So this integrates into the shop management program in the shop.
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah.
okay,
So right now we're just partnering with TechMetric
okay,
clients. So right now we just have that partnership set up. I definitely see a point in the near future where we're going to reach out and potentially partner up with some other shop management systems. But right now we're just rolling with TechMetric, and I don't know if you're a TechMetric user or not, but it's a phenomenal platform, very user friendly, integrates very very well. So
So they're able to then see throughout the day. So your team is basically floating through all the different shops, or do you'd have it sounds like different modules that would be assigned just to each shop that's with the program, right? So then they're looking through and seeing what the updates are. So there is no time for the advisors to have to like send that, like, hey, we just got another DVI, and they're sending it out. Your team's already looking in the background
yep,
to see what's coming on. And
seamless, man. It yeah, it takes out all the guesswork. It makes the process really really streamlined.
so I would almost think that maybe even they're looking at appointments the day before and kind of seeing what might be coming in and what might be on board. Now, this sounds like it'd be really helpful to anyone that's not even in the, like doesn't even have an inspection set up yet, because I think that's the biggest pain point is they don't want to do DVIs because of all of this extra stuff that they're going to have
Hmm.
to do, and you don't understand how much it's going to benefit you until you do it. So you just see a lot of time being wasted quoting all
Yeah,
this stuff out.
yeah,
Now,
100.
when you were talking a little bit about kind of helping with the DVI process, is that like an onboarding
Hmm.
situation, or is that like a daily kind of coaching in a sense where you're constantly trying to help the shop improve their inspections?
Yeah. So what we do is we have it's usually a monthly cadence that we communicate with the shop manager, the shop owner, and we'll throw in little coaching points to help them improve what we're seeing on our end, and just little things. Like I said, we're not coming in to completely overhaul your DVI process. That's not the point. But part of the onboarding process is to show you some best practices, some tips, some tricks, some things that we've seen be successful. So. So we just don't want to throw you out to the wolves and just kind of let you feast or famine there. So
Help you out a little bit. Well, I guess for me, my thought was if we have our own in-house kind of DVI rodeos that we're doing and our own kind of cadence that we're having with our own people, and we wanted to bring you in, I feel like there might be a difference of opinion there as far as trying to help the shop, evolve into your process, but then also trying to make sure we're evolving in the way that we need to stay with our standards. Um, so I guess that's why I brought it up. To look on the other side of that coin, whereas
yeah, and the other thing that's nice about this is we completely customize this to your standards. And that not only does that include the DVI standards that you set as the shop owner, that also includes the parts. Because I can tell you that was one of the big questions I had is how does this work with parts? And we use the parts that you want us to use. And what I mean by that is part of the onboarding process, you're going to fill out, hey, who's your battery supplier? What's your inventory look like? Is your inventory on the shelf accurate? It goes through a series of questions. And if you leave it blank, we default to our standards, which is we're always going to recommend OE or better, OE or similar products and parts for that vehicle.
that's a good question too. That was something that I was kind of in the back of my mind was thinking about was the parts integration. So are you integrating with Parts Tech
Yeah,
or
yeah.
okay?
So how this works is, let's say you, Jimmy, said, "Hey, Hub Shop Solutions, let's go." So you would set us up as a service advisor in your system, and we would have access to just the screens and just the parts that we need, and we'd be fully integrated to your shop to remote estimate from there. So yeah, do we integrate with all that stuff? We work really well with Part Stack.
Okay. Yeah. So the parts, obviously, you'd be sourcing them from our location. You would know what's available, and we wouldn't be getting tickets sold where it's like, oh, well, everything's on there, but the part's 3 days away. You saw
Yeah,
the job, and
correct.
it's like we didn't know. Like you didn't check to see how close the parts were.
Yeah, and our team is pretty good too with using Slack, like I said, for communication. If there is something that is kind of out of bounds or something like that, we'll send a message back to the shop before we even decide to send that to the customer, because we want to communicate that to you and to see if you know of a better solution, because we all have that person who they got that brother's uncle's sister's best friends got this part that I know they have for this Jeep Blazer out in the back of their, like, there's all those scenarios that we want to make sure we work through without just trying to give you, a part that's 3 days out, because once again, nobody makes money when we're not turning bays.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a big part of it is parts and keeping parts margins and all that stuff. So when you quote them out, obviously it's going to be
Your matrix is
so
everything.
the matrices that are in our system. So if
Yep.
we have like a tiered matrix, it's not going to be a problem because it's going to be using the same management
Yeah.
program. I
And you know
see.
what's great about that, Jimmy, too, is so I was on the coaching side for a long time, and it was always a challenge to get shops to, for one, not only implement a maintenance, a matrix, but actually use it. Well, you're
Yeah.
using it 100% of the time now,
Yeah.
because
No
that's how
emotional
we communicate.
discounting.
100%. Yep. Yep. Problem solved. We fixed it.
Nice to have a third party perspective when you're
Yeah.
dealing with that stuff because yeah, when you're staring someone in the face, it's pretty easy to give them a quick little discount. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It wasn't me, I swear.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like the standards and the protocols of the shop, obviously, it just sounds like most of that stuff just gets worked out and kind of in the wash, right? Where you're just in daily communication. So if there's things that change or whatever, it just sounds like it's just another advisor. Do you have one specific account rep, or are you going to be talking to different advisors every day? If that was part of the program.
Yeah, so you won't probably even talk to any of the advisors unless there's an issue, right? We have one person that is in charge of the operations, and then we have one person that's in charge of kind of the sales and marketing, and that's myself. So you'll be in direct communication with the person that's going to be in charge of the operations. That'll be kind of your person in the trenches helping you out.
I see. So it's more of a remote estimating. Is basically
Yeah, yeah.
okay, remote estimating because the advising side of it obviously entails a little bit more as far as
Hmm.
what because that's more of the communication side to the client face, right? Where this is more
Yes.
kind of like a back end estimator. You're just cranking
Yep.
estimates out, getting the labor, getting the parts on there,
Yeah.
and calling it a day.
And that's kind of what we say is, like I said, if I'm freeing you up to, an extra half hour, and we all know you're not gonna, like, there's plenty in the shop that we have to do, plenty. So what we've been challenging everyone to do is just take 5 minutes of that 30-minute time savings and reinvest that in your conversation with the customer.
Oh,
So
sure, yeah.
educate them on the what, the why, what broke, why it broke, why it needs to be replaced. Because, I work pretty closely with the Auto Care Association. And anytime we fill out a survey, anytime you see any kind of customer complaint for our industry, it always revolves around they don't understand what we did to their vehicle or why we did it. So what the challenge I always give the shops that I talk to about this program is just take 5 extra minutes, reinvest that time, educate them on what and why we're doing what we're doing, and you're going to see that return. In fact, like I'll throw some numbers out to you real quick. Is we've seen in our test shops, and that's 6 shops that we've tested this in. We've seen an increase of 10%, just under 10% in ARO. That's pretty significant. We've seen an increase in just under 15% close ratio. And obviously, we talked about the written per ticket because the standards get better and they get honed in. So the written per ticket is going to be a little bit better. But this all helps streamline the process. It all helps build a better ticket that you can go out and sell to your guest and your customer, because this all leads to better sales, better profits, and at the end of the day, and I'll talk real quickly on this, it leads to better customer satisfaction. And that's the part that a lot of people don't think about. This is kind of the extra that kind of happens with all of this that we this system that we're talking about is customer satisfaction. When you're able to take a little extra time and just educate them, like we talked about, that increases trust, which is huge in our industry, right? It also builds a better relationship, and with a better relationship comes better retention. And I was using the old Google not too long ago, and Googled, what's the retention rate, and what's all that, some of those numbers look like. And Google told me that 67% of customers that come back, so the customers that we retain in our shops, spend 6 to 7 times more. So if we're able to invest a little bit more time in just educating the guests, building up that trust, building up that relationship, it's worth a significant impact to our business. And that's kind of the side effect of remote estimating and all the warranty calls that we do and the business analytics. That's, if we do the one thing right, that just kind of naturally happens. So
Yeah, it has to. I mean, you only have so much time you can spend. You only have 8 hours.
yeah.
If you spend an hour with each client, that's only 8 people you can impact, right?
Hmm.
If you get an extra half hour, you just double the amount of people you can help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds simple when you say it that way, right?
It does. It does. And you think about it this way too. And since you said the word impact, one of my favorite words, throughout the course of our lifetime, we get an opportunity. The average person gets the opportunity to impact over 10,000 people. And if you think about it in this standards, we're front facing, right? We're in front of the guest and the customers a lot more than a lot of other professions. So I like to think that number is a little higher than 10,000. And if we can go out and impact them just a little bit more, I mean, come on. I mean, you talk about the why for what we do in our shops. I mean, hmm, I can tell you, I know the reason I started my shop, was because I got tired of, backstory. I was a sales leader in the industry for, NGK Spark Plugs and a couple other companies. And I was in and out and working with well over 1,000 shops in my career. And I saw the same stuff over and over again. And finally, I just said, I can do this better. Let's go. And that's why I did it. I think a lot of times that's, as shop owners, that's why we do what we do, right? We do it to make a difference. To, obviously sometimes when we're doing things right, the money helps, right? Obviously we all need money to live. But I think a lot of us, when we got back into this, it was because we wanted to do things a little bit differently. We wanted to do things a little bit better. And we wanted to make the final decision on how we were going to run our business. So sorry, kind of trailed a little bit there, but
No, that's I mean, it's good background. I was gonna dive into that to see what your story is, because I think that's
yeah.
really important, and it's one of the missed things when it comes to a lot of these um, different automotive industry programs and software things that
Hmm.
lots of stuff going on, lots of moving parts, right? And it's good to know when someone's grounded and understands
Yeah.
what we're all doing. Like, what's the vision? What's the mission
Yeah.
statement here? And until
Yeah.
you realize that for your own shop, it doesn't mean anything to you. But when you start understanding what that does for your own shop, then you start picking up on that on other business professionals. You're like, well, okay, so there's a common thread here that we're moving forward. Like we're moving the industry forward. That's the idea, right?
100%. And that's how Hub Shop Solutions came about. I mean, it was a couple of shop owners recognized a problem, and they've provided a solution. And this is the solution. This is what we get to talk about today. And whenever we get a chance to increase shop efficiency, boost customer satisfaction, I mean, and just improve our processes overall, I mean, I don't know, that's a win, I think. So
Yeah, it's a good partnership. I wanted to ask too, when it comes to the estimating. So one of the big things that takes us a fair amount of time is language,
mhm.
and by language is removing acronyms. You know, getting rid of this POS is leaking everywhere, right? Right, like all those things we see in
Yeah.
the inspection notes, and we hound and we hound, and it was so
Yep.
the advisors take that role to go in there and make sure that it's all articulately right. It's all articulate, and,
Yes.
and, and it looks pretty and nice. Is that something your estimators go through and
Yeah.
do with language too? They actually go through and check the
Yeah.
notes and make sure that
I'll tell you that's not something we spend a whole lot of time on, but yeah, we're gonna
that's fair.
check and double check that there's no this POS doesn't need this, but it needs this. Yeah, we're gonna check all that because yeah, we I've seen some things. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah, it's a double. It's two different sides, right? We have to make sure. Okay, so you guys, when you say it needs a TPS, like it needs a throttle position sensor, right? Make the job easier for the advisors when they're looking the part up, right? Advisors, if you know what the TPS is, and you're put the auto position sensor. So when the
Mhm.
client sees it, they're like, it needs a TPS. I don't even know what is like, what's
Yeah.
a TIPS, right? So
Yeah.
it just builds that transparency, builds that honesty and that communication. Because of the one time the customer looks at and says, I don't understand what that word is, what's their first thought,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You guys are ripping me
Yeah.
off. You're just making stuff up.
Correct. Yep. Yep. It's that muffler bearing again. I tell you.
Yeah, just making words up to sell me
Yeah.
stuff. So I mean, that's a big part of the estimating
Yeah.
process for us in our shop, right? That's is
So
taking the time to make sure that that's spelled out correctly.
yeah. So I'm a Texas. I'm down here in Texas. I'm a Texas transplant, born and raised just west of Chicago. If you can hear that accent, which
Got
that's
it.
a didn't even know I had an accent, but anyways, till I moved to the south. But anyways, yeah, so we up north had something that we had to deal with, which was called torch time, right? And rust. Got to deal with all that nonsense. Well, this works well. This is part of the communication process. So if we look at it and we just say, hey, this control arm is going to take 3 hours normally, but it's all rusted and corroded. What we do is just part of the communication process. We just ask the technician to say, hey, you know what? I think this is going to take me an extra hour and a half just because I got to torch this thing out and whatever the case. But that's part of the communication process because not every shop, not every region is going to be the same. We all have different businesses. We all have different business models. And that's just part of the communication process that we have that we got to keep up.
I think that's the most important part. I think we kind of glossed over that pretty quickly, but I think that's like one of the biggest things for me that really strikes me as a kind of a call it a red flag for lack of better terms, right? And maybe for those listening to using a remote estimator is probably one of the biggest things that they really makes them leery about is they need to see the vehicle to estimate it correctly. The labor time is a guide, and we all know how
Yep.
labor guys work. They work, 50% of the time they work every time, right?
Yep. Yes, they do.
So I mean it's really important, and I think we kind of glossed over that kind of quickly, and knowing that with the pictures, when your estimators go through there and see the pictures, is that going to set flags for them? They this component looks pretty rusty. It's probably going
Mhm.
to need a multiplier. So are they immediately reaching out to ask that
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, it's and a lot of that's going to be answered in the onboarding process that we do with the shop as well. Like, what are the standards? What are the expectations? Both
Mm.
sides, right? But yeah, you're 100% right. It's all about the communication, and the beautiful thing too is how we're integrated with Slack and TechMetric is both of those are phenomenal communicating platforms. So what we ask and what this is once again part of the onboarding process is that anytime we have something that's a little bit goofy, maybe outside of your normal guide, right? Hey, like I think I have to get inside to this to pull this alternator, but I think I'm going to crack this, hose. Okay, well, just type that in the notes, and we'll estimate that into the repair order. But once again, it all goes back to communication, and we try to make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, that's the goal, I guess. It is tough though.
Yeah.
Back to the valve cover gaskets, right? You need an intake manifold gasket, yeah, right, because you got to pull the plenum off. Um, I'm assuming the team that you've put together is going to have the education to know there are certain things, or do you heavily rely on the shop to make sure that the techs is really itemizing each component they need? Because obviously you look that up, and sometimes it says R and I plenum, sometimes it
Yeah, and
doesn't.
sometimes it doesn't. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a 50-50 split, right? So we want to do everything we can to make sure that the tickets are accurate for you on your end, right, and shop owners on their end. But we would ask.
Hey, sorry to cut in, but I got to let you know about our exclusive coaching partner of the Gearbox Podcast, Repair Shops of Tomorrow. If you're ready to take your shop to the next level with proven strategies for profitability, ARO growth, and operational efficiency, visit repairshopsoftomorrow.com and start shifting your business into high gear.
Absolutely. Like if gaskets, if you need more additional gaskets, or if you just need a gasket, and you have the opportunity to put that in there. I mean, it seems like gaskets are always the ones that are easily missed, but
Mm-hmm.
um, just note that right there. Like, hey, when I do the spark plugs, I'm going to need XYZ as well. We do have very seasoned sales advisors, and I feel really confident saying that. But at the end of the day, they're a human too, so they might make a mistake. Just like technicians. Well,
Sure.
they never make mistakes, but
No, no.
you know,
No. It's always the advisor's fault.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Our parts department, come on.
Now, is there like a you also in the package or in your service carry on like a monthly service call, like
Yeah.
where we sit down like once a month, let's talk
Yep.
about what went
Yeah,
right,
we
what
we,
went
we want
wrong.
to we want to touch base, and the beautiful thing too is there's no contracts, right? You can cancel this anytime, so there's really not a whole lot of risk. But yeah, we absolutely want to make sure that this is the most benefit to you, and vice versa. We want to make sure that we're helping you grow your shop, and you're helping us grow our business. We want it to be beneficial, right? And if we have any concerns, we'll let you know, and we would hope vice versa, right? If there's any concerns that the shop owners are seeing on their end, that they would let us know as well.
So as a brand new startup, it's always exciting.
Yeah,
You're based in Texas. Is that where you're kind of your testing or your beta testing, I guess you call it,
yeah,
has been conducted, or have you kind of ventured outside of that state at all?
yeah. We got two in Georgia that we're testing, and a handful here in Texas.
Okay,
So
cool.
we've tried the cross states just to make sure, and we've obviously tried right in our backyard just to make sure as well. But we've been testing this thing for, geez, I well over 3 months. So and now we're finally at that point where we're ready to roll it out. We think we got all the bugs worked out. So yeah, we're ready to go.
Is there an app that allows to see where it is, or how does the communication other than Slack come into play when you're in the shop management program? Like if we wanted to
Yeah.
see where the estimate is in progress, is there like an in progress something that we can check in, or are we just waiting to hear back?
Yeah, so you'll see that through Tech Metric, right? It'll you can move that and progress that through the channels, and you also see that through Slack as well.
Okay.
So, and if there's any questions at the any time, like I said, you just shoot us a quick note. But our response time is, to get on that estimate immediately and get it back in your hands within 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll send you some of our DVIs on some of our older vehicles.
Let's go.
I guess on that topic though, is there a cutoff for years, or you just take on whatever the shop gives you? Because we'll get some
Yeah,
1962, Buick Specials in here, right? And it's like
yeah,
you go through these. This car's been sitting for 40 something years, right? It's like everything needs work, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it's like there's no way you get that estimated in 15 minutes.
No, no. Yeah, stuff like that's probably going to take a little bit longer.
Obviously, yeah.
But yeah, but I would say if you're sticking to the average repair or average age of a vehicle, which is what, like 13 years now, I think, it's within 15 minutes, no
Okay,
problem.
that's fair. That's a fair expectation, I think. Yeah. I think most shops are trying to go 20 years or newer, 15 years or
Mhm.
newer, and kind of get out of that because
Yeah,
it does.
and
It
we're
takes a
not
lot of
gonna.
time.
Yeah, like our target audience, like we're not going to go partner with like the hot rod shops or the restoration shops, anything like that. We're looking for the people that are doing your automotive repair on a daily basis.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess getting down to the brass tacks of it, how does the program work when it comes to, is it a monthly service? Is it per ticket? Because that's
Yeah,
something that's got my mind spinning a little bit.
yeah. So I'll let you know, how many cars do you do a month, Jimmy?
About 100 and let's say 100 on average.
Okay. So right now, the what we're doing for new, since we are a new startup, we got new introduction prices. So for you, it'd be $1,500 a month.
Okay. And so is
So
that based on, so if our car count say went to 140 one month, because it does that change the price?
no, so what we do is we'll look at, whenever we have an onboarding meeting, we'll look at what your car count was the year prior, and that's what we base that on.
Oh, I
So
see.
the good thing is, if you kind of sucked the last year and you're killing it this year, you're not going to pay very much, but you might pay a little bit more next year. So, but
Right.
yeah, that's how it works, and it's a monthly subscription, or I should say a monthly fee, and it's not a subscription. So if you decide after 2 months that, hey, this just isn't for me, hey, no problem. Like we're good. So sorry to see you go, but we understand. We want everybody to make the best decision for them and for their shop, for their situation.
Sure, sure, I can see that. Yeah, and you'd have to see a month. You'd have to see a couple of months to probably gain the value out of it.
100%. Just like
Yeah,
coaching, right? You're gonna have to see a little bit, test it out, and make sure you got the right thing. So
yeah. I just with the different cars and is there a way you track that monetize that? Say if someone's in a growth mode and if they doubled their car count in the next year. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
probably something you probably may or not have thought about, but I
yeah,
feel like
yeah.
if
So
you're listening and you're like in a growth mode, it might be time to call this guy right now
yeah,
because
give us
it's
a
like you're gonna
call.
get yourself a spoken deal.
Yeah, I would think if you just blow it up like crazy, like we probably have to have a conversation because that's going to require some more folks and more hours on our end, right? But
Sure,
I
sure.
mean, we want you to get over 100 and that mark that you're trying to hit. We would love for you to get into that extra, car count tier that because if you do that, that means you're making a lot more money too. So, we keep it very conservative. Depending on the car count, like I said, it only goes up about $1,000 every next tier. So, I mean, if you're a big shop or a small shop, like the budget is there for you, right? This is designed for you, and it's not just the remote estimating. We're going to take care of the warranty calls. Who loves calling extended warranty companies? You know, we'll
Oh,
take care of that.
that's a
Yeah,
pretty shiny nugget right there.
yeah, we'll take that off your plate as well because that takes lots of time, lots
Yeah.
of time. And we'll take care of all that. Once again, we'll go through that in the onboarding process, what that looks like. But that's included in that monthly price, And then you're also going to get like a business analytics evaluation every single month. And this is by no means anything to replace coaching or anything like that, because coaching absolutely has its place. But this is something that's a value add, right? That's in addition to. So we're going to give you a monthly scorecard that's going to say, hey, you know what? On a handful of your cars, you're below on your ARO. You might want to focus on ARO, or hey, this year vehicle or this kind of vehicle, we're seeing only 13 pictures on your DVI. Maybe that's something we want to take a look at. Or if you got a technician that's doing lower DVIs, it's not going to be a real in depth, but it gives you a good snapshot of your business and what that looks like, and it's just some very I won't even say very basic, just some good best practices to go look at and adjust and tweak for that next month to make you even more
That
successful.
that's pretty valuable. Now, could you look at that and
Yeah,
say if you had, say, 5 or 6 technicians in the shop, you'd be able to identify, which one's giving you a better product?
yeah. I can't speak how detailed that gets,
Okay.
but I believe that would absolutely tell you which
More of an
technicians are
average
pulling their weight.
overall
Yeah,
of, like, the vehicle and the estimating, not necessarily, "Hey, Johnny's only given us 2 pictures where,
yeah,
Marco likes to put 15 on there."
yeah. Correct.
Not that in depth.
No. I don't
Okay.
think it's going to go that in depth, but it's going to give you,
That would be
your
pretty damn valuable.
yeah, right.
That's like that got I was like, because we do that, in
Yeah.
ourselves in what we call a DVI rodeo, right? Where we'll take a
Okay.
car and everybody does the inspections and we see who's more detailed than the other, right? And that takes a
Yeah.
lot of time, but that's a whole different, ball of
Well,
wax, I
maybe
think.
we can work on that for rollout number 2
There you
then.
go. Yeah, that would
So,
be yeah, if you had that kind of information where you could actually see which technicians are sending you what and how detailed they're being,
mhm.
man, that would take a lot off of a lot of people. I would
Oh
say
yeah,
the shop manager's plate, not the advisor's plate. So, like, again, I think it's a different can of worms, but,
yeah,
it still would be super helpful.
yeah. Well, I'll make a note. Hey, you never know. So,
Well, if, with everyone listening, if they all signed up, then I think we'll get this thing rolling.
yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we could. Hey, if everyone signs up, we'll add that in there. So, no pressure.
We'll just make sure they just add the gearbox then to the end of
Yeah,
their, submittal form so we know where they came from.
absolutely, absolutely. So we know.
Well, right on, man. This is exciting. It's always exciting to have new things roll out in the industry
Mhm.
because that's how we keep progressing. you get stuck in your ways, and then everyone's like, "Oh, I don't need this new thing," and that's when you start going the wrong way. Because if you're not
Yeah.
growing, you're dying.
Yeah. 100%.
So,
100%.
so if anybody needs to or wants to get a hold of you or wants to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Yeah. So, my name is Brandon Jones, and you can get me at Brandon at hubshopsolutions.com. You can go to our website, which is hubshopsolutions.com. I'm pretty active on Facebook and LinkedIn, so you can get me through there. It's B Jones Sales Pro, and you can get me through Facebook or LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram, but I'm not very active on Instagram. So the other two
How do you like
platforms,
how do you like LinkedIn?
I would say LinkedIn. I am more active on than Facebook, and I
I see
thoroughly
that
like.
I see that direction. I see
Yeah,
the tide moving that way.
yeah. It's Facebook certainly has its place, but I think LinkedIn just kind of cleans up a lot of the unprofessional stuff. So once
Well,
again, that has its place. I
the
enjoy it as
platform is
much as
very
the nice guy.
similar to Facebook. It's very, very similar.
Yeah.
The layout, right? And like
Yeah.
it's very similar, but yeah, there's no garbage.
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
I
So
like the way you put it. It cleaned it up very much
yeah,
so.
cleaned it up a little bit, a little bit.
Well, cool. And then any other events you're going to be at where someone can walk up and shake your hand and kind of get a demo of what you got going on?
Yeah, I'm not sure what time when this is going to air, but I'll be at Vision here in the what are we, the first weekend of March, second weekend of March, excuse me. So we'll be at booth 913, so you can come say hi, shake our hands, and yeah, learn a little bit more.
Any other training events you're planning on being at this year?
Yeah, we're nothing nailed down yet, but yeah, we're going to be out there. So
Okay.
you'll see
Be out and
us at
about.
the majority of the events out there.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, it's nice to meet you, and I appreciate you telling
Yeah,
me a little bit more about what's going on. And maybe when we crack our 140 car count, and I need some more help, I know who to reach out to.
yeah, we're here to help.
All right, Gearboxers, you know I keep things running smooth, engines and beards alike. That's why I trust the Bearded Brotherhood for top quality, all natural beard care. From their best selling Woodsmen to my favorite, Thieves, they keep me looking sharp and smelling fresh. Check this out. Get 15% off every order with the code Gearbox15 at thebeardedbrotherhood.co/Gearbox15. Your beard will thank you.